So, stuff came. Lots and lots of stuff. We'll just go over what all this stuff is. I think you know. I think I now have everything I need to get started with solar. So, 100 amp hour lithium iron phosphate, 12 volt batteries from Ampere Time. By the way, none of this video is sponsored other than by my subscribers and gracious donations from you guys. Everything else is out of pocket. So this is a lot out of my pocket. So we've got a NovaPal DC to AC pure sine wave inverter. It's this box here. Let's see. Let's just go over everything. We went over the battery. I don't know what's in here. I don't know what's in here. Well, I do know what's in here. There's a fuse in here, or a circuit breaker. It's an 80 amp circuit breaker. This will go between the solar panels and the charge controller. So there's that. This one is a battery switch that allows me to isolate the batteries from the solar charge controller, all the other stuff here. Same way with this circuit breaker, it allows me to isolate the panels from everything else. So we'll put that down here on the floor. We don't need to take those out of the box. I got this little handy dandy device, and this is a crimper for these large battery cables that I'm going to have to make for these 6-aught, or for these 6-gauge, 4-gauge, 8-gauge cables. I think it'll even do up to 1-aught cable. So I need that. I ordered a 1000 volt amp multimeter, clamp-on meter that measures amps and voltage. So that's here. That's in this lovely case right here. We'll set that aside. We got the auto power transfer controller. That's what's in this box right here. This switches over between grid power and my solar and battery. So it detects, it monitors the voltage, and if my voltage on my solar cells goes below a certain level, or my battery, it automatically kicks over like a UPS would, an automatic switch to the grid power, so that I don't lose any power. Make sense? Okay. And then right up here is this is the heart of the operation. This is the solar charge controller. It controls the voltage coming in from the solar array to the battery to my inverter, and it manages all that stuff. So let's see what we got in this bag here. It feels like wire, but we shall see. Hopefully it's everything I've ordered. Okay, so these are my terminal assortments. So this is these are ferrules for putting it on different size cables. Alright, so that's that bag. Let's see, what's in this bag? How do you open it? Alright, we're going to cut this one open. Alright, these are the other ferrules I'm going to need. So these are for the number 8 wire or number 6 wire. Yeah, these are for my number 6 wire. It'll be coming in from wherever. Alright. Alright, just set that down there. It's like Christmas. You need a kit around just to get rid of all the empty containers and boxes. So, alright, here's a box inside of a bag. So let's see what's in here. This is a heat gun that I'm going to need to make all my connections to my heat shrink tubing. So I went ahead and got a heat gun to never have too many heat guns. And then this should be the wire I need. Hopefully both sizes are in here. Okay, so this is number 8 gauge wire with connectors and heat shrink tubing. This is like $50 just for this wire. This is the battery wire. This is number 6 gauge, 10 feet with the ends and heat shrink tubing. So this will go to the battery connection. This will go to the inverter, and from the charge controller to the inverter. So this is the crimper that I need for the ferrules. And this should fit. Yeah. So yeah, and all this stuff adds up. Let me tell you, it all adds up. So, and I'll give you a running total as we go. But I should have, in theory, everything I need to wire this up. Now, I've already hooked up I've already put my solar panels out there. In fact, after I'm done filming this part, I'm going to go outside and tie the solar panels to the mount, the temporary mount that I have out there, so that they don't blow away in the wind or fall over. And then tomorrow I'm going to start hooking all this stuff up, wiring it up, and getting it to work, hopefully. So there you go. This is just an example of what it takes to try and get your solar up and running. And it's this kind of stuff, and these crimpers and these sleeves and stuff like that. You need to do your research so that you know what you're going to need, so that when you go to assemble all this stuff, you have everything at your fingertips that you're going to need. And this wire is not cheap. Keep in mind, this is copper wire. Copper is not cheap right now, and it's heavy gauge wire. And don't scrimp on your wire. Don't get that aluminum crap. We'll cover that later as we move forward in the video. Don't crimp on this, or don't cut corners on this wire. It's heavy for a reason, because it's made out of copper, you know. So yeah, all right, there we go. So the wires coming in from the solar panels, coming in from outside, I just brought them up through the floor here. These are 10 gauge wires. Now, I have 6 solar panels out there. They're 100 watts each, and they're running about 20 volts per panel. So we got 120 volts coming in here. And I put a fused connection here. You don't have to, but I like to. And this fuse is 150 amp. It's way too big. But I actually use this as a switch to turn off the solar panels and disconnect them. So this is number 10 solar PV wire. It is not UL listed. You want to get, if you're going to leave this out in the sunshine, you want it something that is UV resistant. So that comes into our charge controller. Now what the charge controller does, this handles the power coming in from the solar panels and sends it to the battery through these terminals here and controls the power going into the batteries. How much, in other words, it's smart. It uses tracking technology and the digital computer stuffs and the numerology and the math and the hocus pocus and the voodoo, and determines what the proper voltage and current range is for the solar panels to charge the battery. In other words, it's a box full of magic. Okay? So right now, as you can see, we are pulling in, hang on a second, I need my glasses. I can't. I suffer from CSS, can't see shit. So right now we are pulling in about 114 volts and 400 watts from the solar. It's charging the battery with 28 amps. The battery is currently at 13.7. It shows it's 100% charged, but it's not. And then ignore the little light bulb there. So if I press the panel, I can see that the charge state is in MPPT, the battery voltage, the PV voltage, and the charging current. If I arrow down, the load state is on. I need to turn that off. The battery state of charge is 100%, and the device temperature is 32°C. So you're probably wondering why I have this fan sitting here. Well, this is designed to be mounted vertically on a piece of wood or cement fiberboard. I have it mounted horizontally, so it can't, warm air rises, so the heat's been kind of building up here. It got up to 65°C, so I turned this fan on so I can keep the temperature down, and you can see it's at a much more reliable 32°C. So I was getting this little warning indicator here that it was too hot. So, and the fan is running off of solar and is running off of the battery. Now these two items here are running off of solar, this lamp and that wax heater, and my entire desktop setup here, my PC, my phone, my light on my desk, my speakers, and my PC are all being powered off of solar right now. So the next device that we have is the automatic transfer switch. So this side is plugged into the utility power. This side goes to a power strip here to distribute power. And this side plugs into the inverter, which is right here. And then these wires here go back to the battery. So this thing can monitor the battery voltage, and when the battery voltage falls below a certain point, it'll switch over from battery and solar over to grid power, which is right here. It does that automatically, and you can set the beep bop boops, and you can get the correct voltages in there to where it transfers. Then we have a 1,000 watt or 1,500 watt pure sine inverter. It's a 12 volt inverter. Now the beauty of this charge controller is it can do 12 volt batteries, 24 volt battery, and 48 volt batteries. Same way with this, 12 volt, 24, and 48 volt. Now the power inverter, this is a pure sine wave inverter. That's what you want. You don't want anything else. I got a 1,500 watt because it was all I could afford. This will only do 12 volts. So if I were to go to a 24 or 48 volt battery bank, I would need to replace this with a 24 volt model. But basically, you have your battery connections here, right? I've got that going through a switch right here, so I can cut off the battery feed if I need to this inverter. We'll cover fusing and sizing of that stuff again. I'm not going to tell you what size fuses to use. There's plenty of data out there. This is not a how-to video. This is just how I did it. And then I have my ampere time. This is a LiFePO that's lithium iron, not ion. This is not like the batteries, the little cells. This is an actually lithium iron phosphate battery. It's infinitely safer. That's why I have it inside my house. That was one of the reasons I would not do solar up till this point, to where we could get these batteries, because I had seen too many pictures of those lithium ion batteries catching on fire. And Will Prouse just did a video on that, so go check that out.
Oh. Oh. Yeah, bull. That is not safe. Oh no! Oh no!
He also did a test with these and showed that they don't catch on fire. They smoke and fizzle, but they don't catch on fire. Anyway, this is an ampere time, 100 amp hour, 12 volt battery. And I think I paid $369 for this. They're now, you can get these batteries for under $300 now if you know where to get them. And then this little chingamadero here is a inverter remote, and it basically tells you the state of charge on your battery, whether it's overloaded, whether you have a battery that's low or whatnot. It's really not effective at measuring all this does is measure voltage, which is not a good indication of how much life you have in your battery. But you can see we've got the battery connections going to the charge controller, and then we've got battery connections going to the inverter through the switch, and then these small wires, and they can be this small because all this is sending 12 volt to this transfer switch, so it knows how much battery voltage is left and when to switch it over off of solar. So yeah, and then the various tools. Now this is indispensable tool. This is a multimeter with an amp meter clamp, and I went ahead and paid good money for this, and I got 1,000. This will do up to 1,000 amps. Not that I'm ever going to hit that level, but it'll do up to 1,000 amps. And basically, you turn it on, and you clamp it around your. For example, let's see how much amperage we're getting coming in from the charge controller, and right now it's 25 amps. So it's charging this battery from the solar panels at 25 amp. It shows negative 25 because I've got it turned the other way. So yeah, indispensable. I think I paid 89 bucks for that. And it's also a multimeter if you plug in the leads to it right here. And then I have just a cheapy, creepy multimeter there. I have a temperature sensor just so I can see the temperature of my battery connections, and you can see the charge controller gets up there, and let's see, it's running about 90 degrees. I can check the temperature of my cables, running about 90 degrees. Yeah, just to help you keep an eye on all this stuff. And coming around here to the other side, so there's my power strip. So I've got my two lights plugged in. I've got this cable goes to my charging station for my camera and my little monitor here, and then this black cable goes to the fan, which is keeping that charge controller cool, and then this green wire goes to the power cord, which then goes to a UPS under my desk, which powers my setup. So that's how we've got things configured. This is just a mock-up on this board. There's a line here on this board that I'm going to cut. So I'll cut across there, and then I'll permanently mount all this stuff I just wanted to get a rough layout of it. I still have some fuses to put in here and stuff like that, some more bus bars and that kind of thing. So it's a work in progress, but I mocked it all up on this table. And then eventually this will hang on the telco rack in my server room. Well, there you go. Yeah, after lots of time, lots of money, and lots of effort, I have a mock-up that is actually powering everything that I'm broadcasting with today. So, now just want to clear some things up. My power here isn't that expensive. It went from I think we were paying 8 or 9 cents a kilowatt hour. It went up to 11. But with the way things are on the planet today, prices are going to keep going up. It's not going to get any cheaper. What scared me about all this was, a couple of years ago we had the rolling blackouts, and then they threatened more rolling blackouts this summer with our power company, and I just didn't want to be put in that situation again. I wanted a way to, maybe run a space heater in the winter, or my refrigerators in the summer, or an air conditioner, or whatever. But I think it's going to blossom into something bigger than that. So this is going to be an entire series here at Unkyjoe's Playhouse. Maybe we'll rename it Unkyjoe's Off-Grid Playhouse in homage to Off-Grid Garage, which is an Australian channel. I'll put a link. I'll try to remember to put a link down in the description. He's where I've learned, him and Will Prouse are where I've learned most of what I know. Now, the reason I did a mock-up instead of just building the whole system, putting it together and putting it to work, powering that rack back there, which requires about 500 to 600 watts to power that. I decided to start small and learn how the watts and the amps and the voltages all work together, how that impacts cable size and battery size and what size battery you need. So this is a test bed. So what I'm doing is I'm powering my desk, this ring light, my monitors, my everything on the desk. I'm powering a fan and a couple of lights behind me. Just get an idea of how long the battery lasts, how long it can run on solar during the day before it and charge the battery at the same time, and then how long after the battery is fully charged and the sun goes down can the battery last. I'm starting with a 12-volt system, but eventually I'm going to go to a 24-volt system. I'm going to build slowly. That's why all these components here are 12, 24, 48 volt, with the exception of the inverter. And then eventually, to do the entire house, I'll end up probably going to a 48 volt system. But that's probably a year or two down the road. That's going to take a lot of solar panels, and it's going to take a lot of battery storage to power my home off of it. Now, I probably won't be powering things like my stove or my water heater. I'll probably be powering stuff like, lights and computers and air conditioning units, those kind of things that consume the most power during the day. Things like my stove and my water heater, they're one-off. They come on, they cook my dinner and whatnot, and then they go off. So they're not running constantly. They are large loads, and it's just not feasible to run them off solar panel. It's kind of silly. And I priced putting propane in here, and it's just not in my budget. So some things will keep on grid, some things will take off grid, and then we'll take the savings from not paying the electrical bill and put that back into the solar, which, will basically pay for itself. It's paying as we go. So hopefully just with this setup here, it'll save me $40 or $50 a month. So in about a year and a half, what I put into this will save me in electricity, so therefore it'll pay for itself. I'm not real good at the math, but I can do that in my head. So now, I am by no means an expert on this. I barely have an understanding of how it works myself. That's why I'm physical. I got to put my hands on it and build something so I understand it. So don't follow my advice. I'm not an electrician. I'm not qualified to, even hardly build my own system, but I'm fearless. So there's that. But yeah, if you're going to do this, consult with professionals or consult with others who have done it. Go check out Will Prouse's channel, and go check out Off-Grid Garage. Check his channel. and they can give you better ideas of how all this works together. But anyway, we hope you found the video entertaining and informative. We hope you like the direction the channel is going. Give us a thumbs up down below if you like the video. Leave your comments in the comments section. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. And click that notification bell to be notified of new videos when they come out. Donate if you're so inclined. We could use all your help getting our solar system built. And we take PayPal, Patreon, YouTube join function. And if you're a YouTube premium member like I am, then don't worry about other donations because we get a little piece of the YouTube premium as well. So please come back and see us again. And don't forget, we'll see all of you on the other side.